Well, that was interesting last night.
Hey guys, so I had a tree fall across.
Well, that was interesting last night. 35% tariffs being dropped on Canada August 1st. People are in scramble mode. The media is in full panic. Mark Carney called an emergency premier's meeting to talk about these new threats. People don't know what's going on. People are confused. People are nervous. People are like, I hate Donald Trump. Screw the United States. I hate it all. People are at their wits' end with this. People are frustrated. Regardless where you're on the spectrum, I've seen conservatives who are just done with Trump. I've seen liberals who have, well, they've always been done with Trump. And there's a lot of just chaos happening right now. And I'm sure maybe you're feeling it. And right now, it's a feel-good Friday, baby. It's a feel-good Friday. We're actually going to try to make sense of all this. If you haven't seen the news, this is not going to be a news show per se for today. We're not really going to hit all the topical elements. Oh, maybe do some...
Hey guys, Wyatt Claypool here. Well, it turns out Prime Minister Mark Carney wasn't the man with the plan like he presented himself as in the 2025 federal election. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced he's going to put a 35% tariff on Canada starting on August 1st as an obvious shot across the bow on wanting us to get rid of our supply management program, or at least heavily alter it so that some U.S. farmers are able to send dairy, cheese, and chicken into the Canadian market. But we don't want to, for some reason, touch this, even though it makes products more expensive for Canadians, and it's not even good for all farmers. It's good for a select group of elite farmers who get to be part of the supply management system, while others in provinces like Alberta will literally be arrested for daring to try and sell eggs into the market when they were not part of the system. It's insane. And again, it's demonstrative of a liberal government that was not as advertised. It doesn't mean that Mark Carney is the worst thing I've ever seen. I think at this point he's still better than Justin Trudeau, because Justin Trudeau is usually rock bottom when it comes to how bad a world leader can be. But he was the guy who lead us through a crisis. He's on vacation. We don't have a spring budget. We got embarrassed when it came to digital services tax. We got rid of it just to bring Trump back to the negotiating table, and then we didn't negotiate. That's why I titled this video, Carney Fails to Negotiate with the U.S., because we're not negotiating. It's not like he's failing. He's just failing to negotiate. It's not like the negotiations are going bad. I don't know what the negotiations are going like, because they're not currently happening. And so things could still turn around. And I think the best way things can turn around is Mark Carney agrees to get rid of supply management. But I want to get into some of the fine details of this case. And before I do that, I just want to remind you guys, if you like the channel, you like my presentation, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet a subscriber, and leave a comment on what you think about the situation. Again, I'm not like supporting Trump here. I don't want to tariff on our economy. At the same time, we give so many great excuses for them to put tariffs on us, but let's read the statement that President Donald Trump put out. Now, I agree with part of what he says, and then on other things, I do think that Trump has, as you all know, a tendency to exaggerate for his own benefit. So he issued this yesterday, and it is a letter addressed to the Right Honorable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada. And so it says, Dear Mr. Prime Minister, it is a great honor for me to send you this letter in that it demonstrates the strength and commitment to our trading relationship, and the fact that the United States of America has agreed to continue working with Canada despite Canada having financially retaliated against the United States. Now, the thing I want to highlight about this first sentence is that he's basically saying, hey, we want to negotiate. Where are you, buddy? You're in Muskoka? What? We're trying to sign a deal by July 21st. It is July 10th as of the writing of that letter. Where are you? We want to talk to you. We even agreed to come back to the table after you tried to put a tax on our tech companies. And again, I'm not even agreeing with the tone and tenor of how Trump does stuff. I think that it's a little bit too hard and fast all at once. I think he tends to, like, a 35% tariff is pretty aggressive, but I think it's more so trying to play hardball ahead of the July 21st date because Canadians are not actually negotiating with the Americans. So now, let's go down a bit further, and he says, as you will recall, the United States imposed tariffs on Canada to deal with our national fentanyl crisis, which is caused in part by Canada's failure to stop the drugs from pouring into our country. Instead of working with the United States, Canada retaliated with its own tariffs. Starting August 1st, 2025, we will charge Canada a tariff of 35% on Canadian products sent into the United States, separate from all sectoral tariffs. Good transition to evade this higher tariff will be subject to that higher tariff. As you are aware, there will be no tariff in Canada or companies within your country decide to build or manufacture projects within the United States. And in fact, we will do everything possible to get approvals quickly, professionally, and routinely. In other words, in a matter of weeks. Again, that last sentence is very key. He's saying, we want to do things fast, and if Canadian companies want to move over to the United States, we'll try and sign agreements to make that transition happen as fast as possible within weeks, because he's dealing with the Canadian government that is not comatose. It's just sitting there, not willing to play ball. Now, the fentanyl thing is a little overemphasized. It's not as bad as Trump says it is, but it's also not a non-issue like Justin Trudeau and other liberal politicians were trying to claim back in December and January. There is a drug problem in BC. There is a drug problem in Ontario. There's a drug problem across the country in Canada, just most acutely in places like Vancouver and in Toronto. You think the drug dealers only deal in Canada, like they're Canadian patriots who only want to deal drugs with Canadians? No, they'll carry drugs over the border to go sell it in Seattle too. And so that is something we need to clean up. It's not like we're the majority of the issue for the United States. We're not the worst actor, but it's a problem. We are already working with them on that. It was cheap for Trump to bring up, because I don't think that's something the federal government isn't willing to do stuff for. We're already trying to increase border security. But the bigger thing here is the supply management system. And later on it says, if for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added on to 35% that we charge. Also, I must mention that the flow of fentanyl is hardly the only challenge we have with Canada, which has many tariffs and non-tariff policies and trade barriers, which causes unsustainable trade deficits against the United States. Canada charges extraordinary tariffs to our dairy farmers up to 400%, and that is even assuming our dairy farmers even have access to sell the products to the people of Canada. So the big thing, we can just end it there for the letter. The big thing that Trump wants is probably to get Wisconsin, Dakota, Michigan, New England, dairy farmers, chicken farmers, the ability to make cheese, the ability to trade into Canada. No, it's just a thing. It's just politics. He wants those people to like him for the midterm elections, and you can say it's an excuse, but it's a good excuse that if we're already charging big sectors massive tariffs of 200 to 400% on specific products, you can say, well, I'm only charging you a 35% tariff across the board. So how about you get rid of your tariff and we'll get rid of ours? That is obviously what this is all triangulating towards, but Mark Carney and his liberal government seem more committed right now to the dairy cartel, to the trade, the supply management system, than actually getting a deal done. So this is what Prime Minister Mark Carney had said yesterday on Twitter shortly after this tariff announcement was made. Mark Carney said, throughout the current trade negotiations with the United States, the Canadian government has steadfastly defended our workers and businesses. We will continue to do so as we work towards the revised deadline of August 1st. Canada has made vital progress to stop the scourge of fentanyl in North America. We are committed to continuing to work with the United States to save lives and protect communities in both our countries. No, we're not. Because I know we are trying to, again, tighten up on the border, we're trying to do other stuff. Why are we allowing British Columbia to be a decriminalization province? Why are we allowing Toronto to pilot decriminalization? Why do we have safe supply programs in London, Ontario, and Toronto, and Vancouver, and all over the place? If we had a stronger commitment, we would start trying to actually crack down the drug problem. But Carney finishes his statement off saying, we are building Canada strong. The federal government, provinces, and territories are making significant progress in building one Canadian economy. We are poised to build a series of major new projects in the national interest. We are strengthening our trade partnerships throughout the world. Now, the key words he did not say in the statement are supply management. What are you going to do with it, boss? You got to get rid of it. It would be good for Canadians to get rid of it. In fact, it was like with the digital services tax, it was a good thing for our own country to not have the digital services tax. Now, there's all these people out online, some of them being conservatives themselves, who are saying that it's wrong to say that Trump is right about anything. Guys, if he's right on something, I'll say he's right on something. Supply management is stupid. Not just for American farmers, it's stupid for Canadian consumers and farmers that are not part of the supply management system. I think it'd be good for us to remove it. Okay, but Trump is not right on the fentanyl thing exactly. I'm willing to call balls and strikes, but I cannot stand the hollow patriotism of just saying we're correct. That's not even real patriotism, that's just nationalism. We're correct because we are who we are. I'm an actual patriot. I want Canada to be better off. I want us to reduce taxes. I want us to actually make our economy more competitive. I want to outcompete the United States. I don't just want to throw up tariffs and ignore each other and turn our countries into autarkies where you can only actually create products with resources and labor available within our own borders. That's a great formula to ruining the entire economy. But the more Canadian politicians talk about economics, they all sound like autarkic socialists who think it's bad to trade. But I even want to highlight Pierre Poilievre's statement on this because I didn't think it was honestly that great. I thought it was a bit too, I don't know. It's just not. I think it's trying to be safe, and I'm not sure if exactly that's what you should be doing now. Poilievre says the latest tariff threats are another unjustified attack on Canada's economy. Canada has long been a reliable partner and trusted friend of the United States. These tariffs will damage both our countries. All Canadians must come together to defend our economy. Conservatives stand ready to do everything we can to secure the best deal for Canada by the July 21st deadline the Prime Minister has set. Our country stands united. And what I find a little annoying with this is, no, it's not. We must come together to defend our economy. The latest tariff threats are another unjustified attack. It's the language of nationalism, but it's not accurate. We should be removing taxes on ourselves because it's good to lower taxes. We already have a good enough reason to actually just cave on this so we can get a full free trade deal. I'd love it if there was no tariff between the US and Canada, and I would love it if I could buy chicken at a cheaper price, buying dairy at a cheaper price. It's actually good for everyone. What's actually forcing us to drop the digital services tax is probably a bigger tax break for Canadians than has been delivered by any party over the last 10 years so far. Absolutely hilarious that we need a U.S. president to attack us to actually get some tax relief for Canadians. But here's another post I want to highlight. I do find this kind of funny. I want to go through some of the takes I've seen from people. Cosman from Juno News, I think he's from the True North Wire Service wing of it. He made this very funny post where he says, Mark Carney's advisors right now, quote, have we tried releasing another photo of him signing meaningless papers at his desk? Quick, go get the pen. And all the photos here of Mark Carney signing stuff to show how committed he was to creating one Canadian economy and fighting back against tariffs or whatever. You know, I think some of these are from when he was getting rid of the carbon tax that he used to support. But yeah, the problem with all the elbows up is that it's a great election slogan, I suppose, but it doesn't actually work in reality to just say elbows up when we actually need to, give a little to get a little when it comes to making a trade deal. We are failing to negotiate. We are not negotiating. We just assume that if we went silent and we went proper supply management, maybe we're just going to be able to get through this trade deal without it being cut. It's going to have to go, guys. Like, there's a lot of people rightfully pointing out how toxic this is for our country, that we be dedicatedly fighting for, like, the supply management system over everything. And, what was the thing I wanted to highlight here? That doesn't really matter. I just remember seeing, this is a good one. I like JJ McCullough's take on this. He's very anti-supply management. And he was pointing out after CBC Watcher was posting a video of someone who's actually a more liberal commentator on the CBC saying, what you can see this quote here, quote, when I was listening, waiting to come on, I actually held up my hand and said, I oppose supply management as well, because he was just the guest on basically the CBC guest was saying before he came on the show, when he was hearing the preamble, he was like thinking, sticking up his hand saying, I'm against supply management, because there's all this propaganda out there about how, you know, supply management is really what makes Canada. It's like the public healthcare system. What would Canada be without this terrible healthcare system? But in reaction, JJ McCullough says, literally everyone hates supply management. It's just some dumb Quebec thing that the political elites like. It's a house of cards that will collapse the second the Ottawa establishment calls Quebec's bluff and chooses to stop caring. I hope Carney has the guts. Do I think Carney has the guts? I don't know. If he did, I think he would have done something a while ago, or been open about negotiating with the United States over softening the supply management system in order to get some concessions or eliminate it, but you know, maybe have it phased out over time. We're just not doing any of that because Canada is a weird country where we have to care more about the dairy cartel than average people's standard of living. Anyways, so that should be it for this video, guys. No doubt this tariff situation is going to cause me a lot of grief over the next couple of months. It's going to be annoying seeing Canadian politicians diving in front of like in front of bullets to try and save the supply management system. We just got to get rid of it. It's not even good for us to begin with. Like all protectionism, it just protects weak industries that have basically become complacent, that have become inefficient because they don't have to be efficient. They are on a quota system. They are guaranteed a supply that they are allowed to sell. They aren't even allowed to be competed with by other Canadian farmers, or for that part of the system. But yeah, next couple of months we are going to hear a lot of dumb takes about why the supply management system is actually what saved your life. I mean, you would all be dead right now if it wasn't for the supply management system. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. See you later.
If this happens to you every time you attempt a lob, I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to start doing so that you win almost every single lob attempt. There are 2 keys, they're simple, and they're gonna be so transformative that you're gonna start crushing your opponents with your lobs. The first one is to select the right shot. So when I'm in a dink battle, if I'm lobbing off the bounce, I'm gonna telegraph it, because you see when I hit that ball, I'm taking my paddle back first, and I'm creating this huge pushing motion that gives my opponent a head start. So instead what I wanna do is try to hit a lob off of a reset. So hit it out of the air. That way I can hide it a lot better, because one, I'm not taking the paddle back quite as far.
Oh.